Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the TSS Indomitable, staring at the message that had just arrived from deep space. The holographic display showed strange alien symbols that his computer slowly translated into human language. His jaw tightened as he read the words. This was not a greeting. This was a threat. "Captain Yuna, come look at this," he said quietly. Yuna walked over from her station, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. She was one of the best tactical officers in the Terran fleet, young but sharp as a blade. She read the message and her eyes went wide. "They want us to surrender? Just like that?" she asked. "Apparently we have 72 hours to give them our answer," Hyunwoo replied. He touched the screen and the symbol of the Velkari Empire appeared. It looked like a claw crushing a star. "They call themselves the Velkari Empire. They say they have conquered 15 other species across 47 star systems. And they think we'll just bow down?" Yuna shook her head. "They don't know humans very well." The Admiral allowed himself a small smile. "No, they don't." The message was clear and insulting. The Velkari demanded complete surrender, yearly tribute of resources, and that humanity would become servants to their empire. They promised destruction if humanity refused. Emperor Thaxian, their leader, had signed the message with what the computer translated as the Eternal Conqueror. Hyunwoo sent the message to Earth immediately. Within hours, the Terran Council gathered in the capital city. Leaders from every continent assembled in the Great Hall, their faces showing worry and anger. Fleet Commander Minho slammed his fist on the table. "We should attack them first. Show them that humanity doesn't take threats lightly." Minho was a military man through and through. He had fought in the colony wars and believed in striking fast and hard. His silver hair was cut short, and his uniform had more medals than anyone else in the room. Ambassador Hana raised her hand. She was older, wiser, and always looked for peaceful solutions. "We should try to negotiate. Maybe they don't understand that we are not a weak species. We could send a delegation, try to talk." "Talk?" Minho interrupted. "They gave us 72 hours to become their slaves. What is there to talk about?" President Jinwoo sat at the head of the table, listening carefully. He was a quiet man who thought deeply before making decisions. The weight of humanity's future rested on his shoulders. He had been president for 8 years and had guided humanity through difficult times before. "Let me tell you something." Jinwoo finally spoke. His voice was calm, but everyone stopped to listen. 20 years ago, when we first detected alien signals in space, I was just a scientist. I remember the day clearly. We were so excited to learn we were not alone in the universe. But then our satellites picked up something else. We saw wars in distant star systems. We saw entire planets destroyed. We realized the universe was not a friendly place. He stood up and walked to the large window that showed Earth below. The planet looked peaceful, blue and green and beautiful. From that day we prepared. While we sent peaceful messages into space, we also built defenses. We created new weapons. We trained our fleets. We did this quietly, hoping we would never need to use them. The Velkari think they are facing a young species that just learned to travel between stars. They think we are easy prey, so what do? Hana asked. Jinwoo turned to face the council. We show them who we really are. We send them a message, short and clear. We tell them that humanity will never kneel. The vote was quick. Every member of the council agreed. Ambassador Hana was given the task of writing the response. She kept it simple, just 3 words in every major Earth language, then translated into Velkari. Come and try. Back on the Indomitable, Hyunwoo received the council's decision. He gathered his senior officers in the briefing room. Captain Yuna was there, along with Commander Junho, who led the defense of Proxima Station, and Chief Engineer Somin, who had helped design humanity's newest weapons. We're going to war, Hyunwoo told them. The Velkari will come with everything they have. Intelligence reports say their 3rd fleet is already moving toward our outer colonies. How many ships? Hunyo asked. He was younger than Hyunwoo but had proven himself in several battles against pirates and raiders. 300 warships, Yuna answered. She had already studied the enemy fleet. They use plasma weapons and energy shields, standard technology for most spacefaring civilizations. They're powerful, but they've been fighting the same way for centuries. And we're different, Soman added with a slight smile. She was brilliant with technology, always thinking 5 steps ahead. They've never seen railgun technology. They don't know about our AI-assisted targeting. They certainly don't know about the Prometheus network. Hyunwoo nodded. That's our advantage. They think they know us, but they've only watched us for 20 years. They see cargo ships and mining stations. They don't see the weapons platforms hidden in asteroid fields. They don't see the defense grid around Earth. They don't see the battle stations we built in empty space waiting and watching. How do we want to play this? Hyunyo asked. Let them come to Proxima first, Hyunwoo decided. You'll be there with your destroyers. Make them think they're winning at first, then show them what human weapons can do. We need them to report back to their emperor. We need them to bring their full fleet. You want to draw them out? Yuna understood immediately. Exactly. If they send small fleets, we'll be fighting them for years. But if they commit everything at once, we can end this war quickly. The officers looked at each other. It was a dangerous plan. If it failed, humanity would face the full might of an empire that had crushed 15 other species. There's something else, Soman said. We've been monitoring their communications. The Valkyrie are arrogant. They truly believe they cannot lose. This makes them careless. They won't expect real resistance. They'll be overconfident. Then we use that against them, Hyunwoo said. Humanity has one advantage that no other species has given them. We know how to fight when our backs are against the wall. We know how to survive. We've been doing it for thousands of years on Earth, and we'll keep doing it among the stars. The message was sent to the Valkyrie Empire. When Emperor Thaxion read it, he laughed. Come and try, he repeated. These humans have spirit. It will make their defeat more satisfying. He ordered his third fleet to attack immediately. 300 ships entered warp space, heading toward Proxima Station. The journey would take 3 days. The Valkyrie commanders joked and made bets about how quickly they would crush the human defenders. On Proxima Station, Commander Junho watched the enemy fleet approach on his sensors. His 12 destroyers waited silently in the shadow of an asteroid field. The station's civilians had been evacuated. Only military personnel remained. They're coming, his tactical officer reported. Junho looked at his crew. They were ready. They had trained for this moment. Remember, he said, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for Earth, for all of humanity. Today we show the galaxy what humans can do. The Valkyrie fleet dropped out of warp space, their ships forming a massive wall of metal and weapons. They sent one final demand for surrender. Junho's response was to power up his railguns. The war had begun. Fleet Commander Taraxis stood on his command ship, looking at the small human station ahead. Proxima Station was nothing impressive. It was a simple mining colony orbiting the red dwarf star. He could see only 12 human destroyers defending it. 12 ships against his 300. This would be over in minutes. Send them the demand, Taraxis ordered. His second officer, a young Valkyrie warrior eager for glory, transmitted the message. Commander Junho received the message on his small destroyer. The Valkyrie wanted him to surrender immediately or be destroyed. He looked at his crew. Tactical Officer Minji stood at her station, fingers moving over controls. The other officers waited for his command. Send them our answer, Junho said. Tell them no. Minji smiled and sent back a single word in Valkyrie language. No. Taraxis couldn't believe it. They dare refuse? Destroy them! Show them the power of the Valkyrie Empire. The Valkyrie ships moved forward in a standard attack formation. They had used this formation for centuries. It had never failed them. Energy weapons charged, glowing bright green. Plasma cannons aimed at the human destroyers. They're coming, Minji reported calmly. Entering weapons range in 30 seconds. Wait for it, Junho said quietly. Let them get closer. Let them think they've already won. The Valkyrie fired first. Bright plasma bolts shot through space, hitting the shields of the human destroyers. The shields held, but just barely. Taraxis laughed. See? Their shields are weak. Press forward. Now, Junho ordered. The 12 human destroyers suddenly moved. They didn't retreat. Instead, they split into 3 groups and dove into the nearby asteroid field. The Valkyrie commanders were confused. Why would the humans hide among rocks? They're cowards, Taraxis shouted. Follow them! Crush them! 50 Valkyrie ships chased the human destroyers into the asteroid field. That was when the humans revealed their first surprise. Hidden among the asteroids were weapons platforms, dark and silent, waiting. Fire, Junho commanded. The railguns activated. They were different from the plasma weapons the Valkyrie used. Railguns used magnetic fields to accelerate metal projectiles to incredible speeds. The tungsten rounds moved at 5% of light speed. At that velocity, they hit with the force of nuclear bombs. The first Valkyrie ship exploded before its sensors even registered the attack. Then another. And another. The tungsten rounds tore through Valkyrie shields like they didn't exist. The shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid metal moving at impossible speeds. "What's happening?" Taraxis demanded. "What are they shooting at us?" His science officer looked at the data, his face showing shock. "Commander, they're using kinetic weapons. Physical projectiles. Our shields are useless against them." The human destroyers weren't just running. They were leading the Valkyrie into a trap. Every asteroid hid weapons. Every shadow concealed danger. Tactical Officer Minji coordinated the entire defense from her station. She had memorized every rock, every position, every angle of fire. "Group 2, move to position Delta," she ordered. "Group 3, prepare for flanking maneuver." The human ships moved through the asteroid field like dancers, smooth and practiced. The Valkyrie ships, larger and less agile, struggled to follow. They crashed into asteroids. They fired at shadows. They hit each other in the confusion. Junho's destroyer came around a large asteroid and fired directly into the engine of a Valkyrie cruiser. The tungsten round punched through the ship from back to front. The cruiser went dark and began drifting. "Retreat!" one Valkyrie captain screamed. "It's a trap. Retreat." But retreating was just as dangerous as advancing. The human weapons platforms targeted the fleeing ships. More explosions lit up the asteroid field. Within 1 hour, 50 Valkyrie ships were destroyed or disabled. Taraxis couldn't believe what he was seeing. He had lost 50 ships to 12 human destroyers. 50. This was supposed to be an easy victory. This was supposed to be the start of humanity's conquest. "Pull back," he ordered, his voice shaking. "All ships, pull back to safe distance." The Valkyrie fleet retreated, leaving their dead and dying behind. Yunyo watched them go. He hadn't lost a single ship. "Should we pursue?" Minji asked. "No," Junho said. "Let them run. Let them report back what happened here. That's what Admiral Hyunwoo wants." On Earth, Chief Engineer Soman sat in her laboratory deep underground. Around her were humanity's greatest secrets. She walked past the fusion torpedo prototypes, weapons that could destroy entire moons. She checked on the AI cores that would control the drone swarms. Finally, she reached her favorite project, the Prometheus Network. It was humanity's ultimate defense system. 20 years of work. Thousands of weapons platforms hidden throughout the solar system. Orbital stations around every planet. Defense grids that could respond faster than any human could think. All of it connected through quantum communication, working together as one massive weapon. Soman touched the control panel gently. "Soon," she whispered. "Soon we'll show them what humans can really do." Her assistant, a young engineer named Taehyun, entered the lab. "Chief, we're receiving reports from Proxima. Commander Junho won. He destroyed 50 Valkyrie ships," Soman smiled. "Good. That's just the beginning. Has the Admiral given orders to activate Prometheus?" "Not yet. He wants to wait until the Valkyrie commit their main fleet." "Smart." Sumin nodded. "No point in showing all our cards at once." Meanwhile, in Valkyrie space, Fleet Commander Taraxis arrived at the Imperial Palace. He knelt before Emperor Thaxion, his head bowed in shame. The throne room was massive, decorated with trophies from conquered worlds. Thaxion sat on a throne made from the metal of defeated enemy ships. "You lost 50 ships to 12 human vessels." Thaxion's voice was cold and dangerous. "My Emperor, they have weapons we've never seen before. Kinetic weapons that bypass our shields. They fight differently than any species we've encountered." "Excuses," Thaxion hissed. 15 species have fallen before us. 15. And you're telling me these humans are special? My Emperor, I recommend caution. We should study their weapons, develop countermeasures. Silence. Thaxion stood up, his tall form casting a shadow over Taraxis. "I will not show caution to a species that should be begging for mercy." "I will not give them time to prepare. You failed me, Taraxis. You made the Valkyrie Empire look weak. My Emperor, please, enough. I am committing the Grand Armada. 7,000 ships, half of our entire military force. I will personally oversee this campaign. Humanity will be crushed so completely that every other species in the galaxy will remember never to defy the Valkyrie Empire." Taraxis felt cold fear. 7,000 ships. This had never been done before. "My Emperor, is that wise? What if there are other threats while our fleet is— Are you questioning me?" Thaxion's eyes burned with anger. "No, my Emperor. I would never." "Good. Prepare the Grand Armada." We leave in 1 week. The humans will regret their defiance. Taraxis left the throne room, his mind racing. 7,000 ships was overkill. But he couldn't argue with the Emperor. No one could. He could only hope that the Emperor's rage wouldn't lead them into disaster. On the Indomitable, Admiral Hyunwoo received the intelligence report. Scout Captain Taehyun had infiltrated Velkari space using a cloaked ship. The information was clear. The Velkari were sending their Grand Armada. 7,000 ships, Yuna said, reading the report. That's more than we expected. It's perfect, Hyunwoo replied. This is exactly what we wanted. They're so angry, so eager to punish us that they're committing everything at once. But can we handle 7,000 ships? Yuna asked. Hyunwoo looked at his tactical officer. She was young, but she would learn. War wasn't always about numbers. We've been preparing for 20 years. We built weapons they can't imagine. We created defenses they don't know exist. And most importantly, we understand something they don't. What's that, sir? Humanity fights differently when we're cornered. We don't just fight to win. We fight to survive. And there's no more dangerous enemy than someone fighting for survival. He opened a communication channel to all Terran ships. This is Admiral Hyunwoo. The enemy is coming with everything they have. Good. We wanted them confident. We wanted them angry. Now we show them why that was a mistake. Prepare for the Battle of Terra. This is where we make history. Across human space, ships began moving into position. The trap was being set. The Velkari were coming, certain of their victory. They would learn the truth soon enough. Humanity was ready. Emperor Thaxion stood in the command center of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around him, holographic displays showed the Grand Armada. 7,000 warships stretched across space like a sea of metal and weapons. It was the largest fleet the Velkari Empire had ever assembled. It was unstoppable. My Emperor, his admiral reported. All ships are ready. We can begin the jump to human space whenever you command. Thaxion smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Excellent. These humans humiliated my third fleet. They destroyed 50 of my ships. For that insult, I will burn their worlds. I will make them regret ever defying me. The Grand Armada entered warp space. The journey to Earth would take 2 weeks. 2 weeks for Thaxion to plan his victory. 2 weeks for humanity to prepare its defense. On the Indomitable, Admiral Hyunwoo studied the battle maps. Captain Yuna stood beside him, along with Fleet Commander Minho and several other senior officers. They're using conventional warp drives, Yuna explained, pointing at the display. That makes them slow. It will take them 2 weeks to reach Earth. We can use that time. Good, Hyunwoo said. Minho, disperse our fleet. I want ships in every system between here and Velkari space. Small groups, fast ships. Minho frowned. You want to spread out our forces? That's the opposite of good tactics. We should concentrate our strength to defend Earth. We're not trying to stop them, Hyunwoo explained patiently. Not yet. We're going to show them something first. We're going to make them afraid. How do we make an army of 7,000 ships afraid? Hyunwoo smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. We attack their minds before we attack their ships. Captain Yuna understood immediately. Psychological warfare. Exactly. Yuna, take the Serpent Squadron. Hit their supply lines. Don't attack their warships. Attack their cargo vessels, their fuel transports, their supply depots. Make them worry about logistics. Yuna nodded. The Serpent Squadron was perfect for this. Fast ships, skilled crews, experienced in raiding operations. But there's more, Hyunwoo continued. Every time you attack, I want you to broadcast it. Send the footage to every Velkari communication channel. Let their civilians see their supply ships burning. Let them see that their empire is not invincible. Intelligence Officer Hanul spoke up. He was quiet, usually working alone in his dark office, breaking enemy codes and intercepting messages. Admiral, I've been monitoring Velkari communications. The Empire is not as united as they want us to believe. Many of the species they conquered are unhappy. Rebellions have been suppressed, but the anger remains. Can we use that? Hyunwoo asked. Already working on it, Hanul said. I'm sending messages to the conquered species, showing them footage of Proxima, showing them that the Velkari can be beaten. Some are responding. The Quillari species in particular seems interested in rebellion. Keep pushing, Hyunwoo ordered. Let's make the Velkari fight a war on two fronts. Let them worry about enemies behind them while they face us. The plan was set in motion. Captain Yuna took the Serpent Squadron and left the safety of human space. Her ships were small and fast, designed for exactly this kind of mission. She had 10 destroyers under her command, each one crewed by the best raiders in the fleet. 3 days later, they found their first target. A Velkari supply convoy traveling through empty space. 5 cargo ships protected by 2 military escorts. The cargo ships were fat and slow, carrying fuel and ammunition for the Grand Armada. Perfect, Yuna said. All ships attack pattern Delta. Take out the escorts first, then the cargo ships. The Serpent Squadron came out of the darkness, railguns firing. The first escort exploded before it could even send a warning. The second managed to raise shields, but tungsten rounds tore through them. Within minutes, both escorts were destroyed. The cargo ships tried to run, but they were too slow. Yuna's ships surrounded them and fired carefully aimed shots. The cargo ships exploded, fuel igniting in bright fireballs that lit up the empty space. Record everything, Yuna ordered. Send it to Intelligence Officer Hanul. He'll know what to do with it. Hanul received the footage and smiled. Within hours, the video was being broadcast across the Velkari Empire. Civilians saw their mighty fleet's supplies burning. They saw human ships destroying Velkari vessels with ease. Fear began to spread. Emperor Thaxion saw the broadcasts and raged. Find those human ships. Destroy them. But the Serpent Squadron was already gone, hunting for the next target. Over the next week, Yuna hit 3 more supply convoys. Each time the footage was broadcast. Each time the Velkari Empire's confidence cracked a little more. On a conquered world called Quellar, the aliens watched the broadcasts with growing hope. The Quillari had been enslaved by the Velkari for 30 years. They had tried to rebel once and failed. Thousands had died. But now, seeing the humans fight back successfully, hope returned. A Quillari resistance leader named Vex sent a secret message to Intelligence Officer Hanul. We will help you. Tell us what you need. Hanul replied immediately. Wait for my signal. When the Grand Armada reaches Earth, rise up, attack their supply bases, sabotage their ships, make them fight on 2 fronts. We will do this, Vex promised. For freedom. Emperor Thaxion realized something was wrong. His supply lines were being attacked. His conquered species were getting restless. Communications from the homeworld spoke of fear and doubt. This was not how the campaign was supposed to go. We're moving too slowly, he told his admiral. The humans are using our slow warp drive against us. Push the engines harder. I want to reach Earth in 1 week, not 2. My emperor, pushing the engines could cause malfunctions. I don't care, do it. The Grand Armada increased speed, but the decision was costly. Several ships suffered engine failures and had to be left behind for repairs. The fleet that arrived at Earth would be slightly smaller, slightly less prepared. Admiral Hyunwoo received the intelligence report from Scout Captain Taehyun, who had been shadowing the Velkari fleet. They're moving faster than expected, Taehyun reported. They'll arrive in 1 week instead of 2. That's fine, Hyunwoo said calmly. We're ready. Actually, their haste is good for us. They're making mistakes. Rushed decisions lead to errors. Fleet Commander Minho entered the command center looking grim. The civilian evacuation from Earth's orbit is complete. Everyone who wanted to leave is now on transport ships heading to the outer colonies. How many stayed? Hyunwoo asked. Most of them, Minho admitted. People don't want to run. They want to fight. We have volunteers by the thousands wanting to join defense crews. Hyunwoo felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, facing impossible odds and refusing to back down. Let them serve, he decided. We'll need every hand. In her underground laboratory, Chief Engineer Somin worked day and night preparing the Prometheus network. The defense grid was ready, but she kept checking everything 3 times. This system had to work perfectly. One mistake could cost humanity the war. Status report, she demanded from her team of engineers. Orbital weapons platforms. Online. Asteroid bases. Online. Quantum communication network. Online. AI coordination systems. Online. Drone swarms. Ready to deploy. Fusion torpedoes. Armed and ready. Somin allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. 20 years of work. Billions of credits spent. Thousands of engineers contributing. It all came down to this moment. What about the planet cracker? She asked. Her assistant looked nervous. Chief, are we really going to use that? It's designed to destroy entire moons. We won't use it unless we have to, Somin said. But it needs to be ready. If the Velkari get through our defenses, if they threaten Earth itself, we need to show them we can destroy their homeworld just as easily. The weapon she spoke of was humanity's darkest secret. A massive weapon that could fracture a moon or small planet. It was hidden in deep space, cold and dark, waiting. Humanity hoped to never use it. But they would, if necessary. Captain Yuna returned from her raiding missions, her squadron intact. She had destroyed 17 Velkari supply ships and 2 military escorts. More importantly, she had spread fear throughout the Empire. Good work, Admiral Hyunwoo told her. Now get some rest. The real battle is coming. Admiral, Yuna said, I saw them. The Grand Armada. 7,000 ships, it's enormous. Are you sure we can win? Hyunwoo put a hand on her shoulder. Captain, let me tell you something about humans. We've survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and natural disasters. We've faced extinction before and always found a way to survive. Not because we're stronger or faster or more advanced, but because we refuse to give up. We adapt. We innovate. We fight smarter. And if that's not enough, then we fight harder. Hyunwoo said simply. The Velkari Empire has conquered 15 species, but those species fought alone. They had no allies. They had no one to teach them how to resist. We're different. We've studied every battle they ever fought. We know their tactics. We know their weaknesses. And we've prepared weapons they can't even imagine. Yuna felt her confidence return. Yes, sir. We'll show them what humans can do. The Grand Armada was 3 days from Earth. Every human ship had taken position. The orbital platforms were armed. The asteroid bases were manned. The drone swarms were ready. The fusion torpedoes waited in their launch tubes. Intelligence Officer Hanul sent one final message to Vex and the Quillari resistance. They will reach Earth in 3 days. When the battle begins, the Grand Armada dropped out of warp space at the edge of Earth's solar system. 7,000 Velkari warships appeared like a swarm of locusts, their weapons powered up, glowing green in the darkness. Emperor Thaxion stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the small blue planet in the distance. That is Earth, he said with satisfaction. The home world of these humans who dare defy us. Today we teach them the price of resistance. On Earth, billions of people looked up at the sky. News broadcasts showed the enemy fleet approaching. It was the largest military force ever assembled in known space. Children held their parents' hands. Old people remembered stories of Earth's ancient wars. Everyone wondered if humanity would survive this day. But Admiral Hyunwoo was calm. He stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the enemy fleet approach. Beside him, Commander Dongyuk waited at the Prometheus network controls. All stations report ready, Dongyuk said. He was nervous. This was the first time Prometheus would be used in real combat. 20 years of preparation came down to this moment. Good, Hyunwoo said quietly. Let them come a little closer. Let them think they're winning. The Velkari fleet moved forward in a massive wall formation. It was meant to intimidate, to crush enemy morale. Emperor Thaxion expected the humans to panic, to surrender, to beg for mercy. Instead, Admiral Hyunwoo activated the Prometheus network. Across the entire solar system, hidden weapons came to life. Orbital platforms around Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn activated. Weapons bases hidden in asteroid fields powered up. Defense stations that had been dark and silent for years suddenly blazed with energy. What's happening? Thaxion demanded as his sensors lit up with thousands of new contacts. Where did all these weapons come from? His science officer stared at the data in disbelief. Emperor, they've weaponized their entire solar system. There are defense platforms everywhere. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Impossible. Our intelligence showed nothing like this. They hid them, Emperor. Cold and dark. Our sensors couldn't detect them. Hyunwoo watched the enemy's confusion and smiled. Now, he ordered. Fire everything. The Prometheus network opened fire. Railguns shot tungsten rounds from 100 different angles. Missiles launched from hidden bases. Laser batteries targeted enemy ships with computer precision. The attack was coordinated by advanced AI, responding faster than any organic being could think. The Velkari fleet's shields flared as they absorbed the first hits. But the attacks came from everywhere at once. Front, sides, back, above, below. No shield could protect against that many weapons firing from that many directions. Return fire, Thaxian screamed. Destroy those platforms. The Velkari ships fired their plasma weapons, hitting some of the orbital platforms. Explosions lit up space, but for every platform destroyed, 10 more kept firing. The Prometheus network was designed with redundancy. Losing individual weapons didn't weaken the overall defense. Captain Yoonji led the Hammer Squadron, 20 heavy cruisers carrying humanity's strongest conventional weapons. All ships form up, she ordered. We're going straight through their center. Target the flagship. Captain, that's suicide, her second officer protested. Maybe, Yoonji said calmly, but we need to punch a hole in their formation. We need to show them that we're not afraid. Follow me. The Hammer Squadron charged forward, all weapons firing. They hit the Velkari line like a knife through flesh. Plasma bolts struck their shields. Ships on both sides exploded. But Yoonji kept pushing forward, her eyes locked on the Eternal Dominion. Fusion torpedoes ready, Weapons Officer Sung-min reported from his station on the Indomitable. He had been waiting for this moment. The fusion torpedoes were his creation, his masterpiece. Fire when ready, Hyunwoo ordered. Sung-min pressed the launch button. 10 fusion torpedoes shot from hidden launchers. They looked small compared to the massive warships, but their power was immense. Each torpedo contained a miniature star, compressed and ready to explode. The first torpedo hit a Velkari battleship. The explosion was blinding. When the light faded, the battleship was gone. Just gone, not damaged, not disabled, completely vaporized. The second torpedo took out 2 cruisers that were flying too close together. The third, fourth, and fifth torpedoes cleared an entire section of the Velkari formation. What kind of weapon is that? Thaxian demanded in horror. It's beyond our technology, Emperor. The energy readings are. They've weaponized nuclear fusion. Each torpedo has the power of a small sun. Captain Unji's squadron reached the enemy flagship and fired everything they had, but the Eternal Dominion's shields held. It was too heavily armored. Yoonji's ship took a direct hit from plasma cannons. Systems failed. Life support flickered. Captain, we need to retreat, her second officer said, bleeding from a head wound. No, Yoonji said firmly. We came here to do a job. All remaining power to forward railguns. One more shot. Her ship fired one last time before the plasma cannons destroyed it. The railgun round punched through the flagship's shields and tore a hole in its hull. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to hurt it. Enough to show that even the Emperor's ship could bleed. Yoonji died with her crew, but she had done what she came to do. They destroyed the Hammer Squadron, Dong-hyuk reported grimly. I know, Hyunwoo said quietly. Remember them. Honor them. But keep fighting. Lieutenant Jiwon sat in a dark room deep inside Earth's defense grid. Around her, screens showed millions of tiny dots, the drone swarms. Each dot was a small fighter craft no bigger than a car, controlled by advanced AI. There were millions of them, hidden in storage bays across the solar system. Release the swarms, Hyunwoo ordered. Jiwon activated the launch sequence. The screens exploded with movement. From Earth's orbit, from the moon, from Mars, from asteroid bases, the drones launched. They moved in massive clouds like schools of fish coordinating through AI networks. The Velkari saw them coming and laughed. They're sending tiny fighters? Our point defense will destroy them easily. But there were too many. The Velkari ships fired their defensive weapons, destroying hundreds of drones. Thousands. But millions more kept coming. The drones were too small to target effectively, too numerous to stop, and too fast to evade. They swarmed over Velkari battleships like ants covering a piece of food. Each drone carried a small explosive. One drone wasn't dangerous, but 10,000 drones hitting the same spot could tear through any armor. They're destroying our ships, a Velkari captain screamed over the communications. The drones are everywhere. We can't stop them all. The drones didn't just attack randomly. They learned. The AI watched which attacks worked and which didn't. It adapted. When it found a weak spot on a ship, every drone in the swarm focused on that spot. Shields failed. Armor cracked. Ships began exploding. Emperor Thaxion watched his fleet dying. He had come with 7,000 ships expecting easy victory. Now hundreds of his ships were gone. His formation was broken. His supply lines were under attack back home. His conquered species were rebelling. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How can one species be this prepared?" Admiral Hyunwoo could have told him. 20 years of preparation, 20 years of building weapons in secret, 20 years of watching the Velkari and learning their tactics. Humanity had used that time well, but the battle was far from over. The Velkari still had thousands of ships. They began to adapt, to coordinate their defenses better. They focused their fire on the orbital platforms, slowly destroying them despite heavy losses. "Emperor, we should retreat," his admiral suggested. "We've underestimated them. We need to regroup, develop countermeasures." "No," Thaxion shouted. "I will not retreat from these primitives. Commit the reserve fleet. All ships, full attack! Overwhelm their defenses!" The Velkari pushed forward with everything they had. For every ship they lost, they destroyed human weapons platforms. For every defeat, they learned something new. The battle turned into a grinding war of attrition. "They're pushing through," Donghyuk reported. "Section 7 is failing. They're breaking through our defense grid." Hyunwoo made a quick decision. "Pull back our ships to the moon's orbit. Form a defensive line. We'll make them fight for every inch of space." The Terran fleet regrouped. Ships damaged in the initial fighting retreated for repairs. Fresh ships moved forward. The line held, but barely. Intelligence Officer Hanul received a message from Queller. "The uprising has begun. The Quellari and 3 other conquered species have risen in rebellion. The Velkari home fleet is deploying to stop them." "Good," Hyunwoo said. "That's 300 Velkari ships that won't be coming here." The battle raged for 6 hours. Space between Earth and the moon filled with debris, destroyed ships and burning wreckage. Both sides were bleeding. Both sides were exhausted. But neither would surrender. Captain Yuna, now commanding her own cruiser, fought beside veteran crews and new volunteers. She saw heroes and cowards, brilliance and mistakes, victory and death. War was not glorious. It was terrible. But it was necessary. "Admiral," she reported, "the enemy is pulling back. They're regrouping." Hyunwoo studied the tactical display. The Velkari had lost over 1,000 ships. Humanity had lost hundreds of orbital platforms and dozens of ships. But the Prometheus network still functioned. Earth was still protected. "They're going to try one final push," Hyunwoo predicted. "They'll throw everything at—" Emperor Thaxion stood on his damaged flagship, preparing for the final assault. 6,000 ships remained from his Grand Armada. It was still an overwhelming force. It should be enough to crush Earth's defenses and end this war. "All ships target Earth," he commanded. "I want every weapon aimed at that planet. We will burn their cities. We will destroy their military bases. We will show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Velkari Empire." On Earth, people watched the sky. The enemy fleet was coming. Parents held their children. Soldiers checked their weapons one last time. This was it. The final battle for humanity's survival. Admiral Hyunwoo stood calmly on the Indomitable's bridge, but his mind was racing. His fleet had fought brilliantly. The Prometheus network had exceeded all expectations, but the enemy still had 6,000 ships. That was more firepower than humanity could withstand. "Admiral," Commander Donghyuk said quietly, "if they break through, Earth will be destroyed. We should evacuate the government. Preserve what we can." "No," Hyunwoo said firmly. "If we run now, we lose everything. Not just this battle, but our spirit. Our people are watching us. If they see their leaders flee, they'll lose hope. We stay, we fight. We win, and if we can't win..." Hyunwoo looked at his old friend. "Then we make them regret ever coming here. We make them pay such a terrible price that they'll never threaten another species again." The Velkari fleet surged forward. Every ship fired at once. The sky lit up with plasma bolts and energy beams. The Prometheus network returned fire, but there were too many enemies. Orbital platforms exploded. Defense stations went dark. The Terran fleet fought desperately, but ships were destroyed one by one. "Section 3 is gone," Tactical Officer Minji reported. "Section 5 is failing. They're breaking through our defensive line." This was the moment Admiral Hyunwoo had prepared for, the moment he hoped would never come. He opened a secure channel to Chief Engineer Soman, deep underground. Soman, activate the planet cracker. In her bunker, Soman's hands shook as she reached for the control panel. The planet cracker was humanity's darkest weapon, a massive satellite weapon hidden in deep space designed to destroy moons or small planets. It had never been tested at full power. No one knew if it would even work. Targeting the Velkari homeworld coordinates, Soman said. Weapon charging. It will take 5 minutes to reach full power. Hyunwoo opened a communication channel, not just to the Velkari fleet, but to every ship, every planet, every communication relay in the galaxy. This message would be heard by everyone. Emperor Thaxion, Hyunwoo said calmly. I am Admiral Hyunwoo of the Terran fleet. I'm broadcasting this message across all channels so there can be no misunderstanding. You came to conquer us. You expected us to surrender. You thought we were weak. On the Eternal Dominion, Thaxion received the message and laughed. This human admiral wants to negotiate now? Too late. Continue the attack. But Hyunwoo wasn't finished. You were wrong about us. Humans don't surrender easily. We've survived countless threats on our own world. Ice ages, plagues, wars, natural disasters. We always find a way to survive. Not because we're the strongest, but because we never give up. Empty words, Thaxion muttered. Words won't save them. I'm not trying to save us, Hyunwoo continued. I'm trying to save you. You see, Emperor, you made a critical mistake. You thought this war was about conquest, about making us submit. But for us, it's about survival. And there's no creature more dangerous than one fighting for survival. Hyunwoo's face appeared on displays across the Velkari fleet. He was smiling. Not a cruel smile or a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had accepted what had to be done. I have just activated a weapon aimed at your homeworld, Hyunwoo said. In 5 minutes it will fire. The beam will take 3 hours to reach your planet. When it does, your world will crack like an egg. Your capital city, your billions of civilians, your emperor's palace, all of it will be destroyed. The Velkari fleet stopped advancing. Every commander turned to look at Emperor Thaxion, waiting for orders. Thaxion's face went pale. You're bluffing, he said, but his voice shook. You wouldn't dare. I don't want to, Hyunwoo admitted. I truly don't. Billions of innocent Velkari civilians would die. Your children, your families, your history would be erased. But you need to understand something, Emperor. If humanity dies today, we won't die alone. We'll take you with us. Fleet Commander Minho whispered to Hyunwoo. Admiral, are you really going to do it? Kill billions of civilians? I hope I don't have to, Hyunwoo whispered back. But he needs to believe I will. The truth was, Hyunwoo wasn't sure if he could actually give that order. Destroying a planet full of civilians went against everything he believed in. But Thaxion didn't need to know that. He only needed to believe it was possible. 4 minutes until the weapon fires, Soman reported. Emperor Thaxion was trapped. If he continued the attack, his homeworld would die. But if he retreated, he would look weak. The Velkari Empire was built on strength and fear. Showing weakness could destroy everything. Emperor, what are your orders? His admiral asked. Thaxion looked at Earth on the display. That small blue planet had cost him over 1,000 ships and thousands of Velkari lives, and now it threatened his entire civilization. Cease fire, he said quietly. Emperor, I said cease fire. Thaxion shouted. Pull back all ships. Defensive formation only. The Velkari fleet stopped attacking. Human crews watched in confusion as the enemy pulled back. What was happening? 3 minutes until weapon fires, Soman reported. Hyunwoo opened the channel again. You're learning, Emperor. Good. Now let me explain how this is going to work. You will order your fleet to retreat from human space. You will never threaten Earth or any human colony again. And most importantly, you will free every species you have conquered. That's impossible, Thaxion protested. The Empire would collapse. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. Your empire will collapse, but your people will survive. That's the choice I'm offering you. Give up your empire and live, or keep fighting and die. You have 2 minutes to decide. On Quellar and other conquered worlds, the rebellions were spreading. The Quellari resistance leader Vex fought alongside his people, inspired by humanity's resistance. When they heard Hyunwoo's broadcast, they fought even harder. Freedom was within reach. 2 minutes until weapon fires, Soman said. She was praying that she wouldn't have to push the final button. Killing a planet, even an enemy planet, would haunt her forever. Emperor Thaxion looked around his bridge. His officers waited for orders. His ship was damaged. His fleet was reduced. His empire was in rebellion. And now a human admiral was offering him a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. "If I agree," Thaxion said slowly. "You'll deactivate the weapon?" "Yes," Hyunwoo replied. "I don't want to destroy your world, Emperor. I just want peace. Real peace. Not the peace of submission, but the peace of equals. 1 minute until weapon fires." Captain Yuna watched the countdown, her heart pounding. Would the Emperor agree? Or would humanity have to become the monsters they were fighting against? Thaxion made his decision. He was a conqueror, but he wasn't a fool. His empire was lost, but his people could survive. "Stop the attack," he ordered. "All Velkari ships retreat from human space. The war is over. 30 seconds until weapon fires." "Summon, deactivate the weapon," Hyunwoo ordered. "Deactivating now," Summon said with relief. The weapon powered down. The Velkari homeworld was safe. She felt tears on her face and didn't bother wiping them away. The Velkari fleet began retreating. Ships turned and headed back toward their own space. On Earth, people watched in disbelief. They had won. Humanity had survived. But Admiral Hyunwoo wasn't finished. "Emperor Thaxion, this is not over. You have 1 week to begin releasing your conquered species. If you don't, we will come for you." "You're in no position to threaten me," Thaxion said weakly. "Actually, I am," Hyunwoo replied. The smile was still there, but now it held something else. Determination. "You see, Emperor, you showed us where your homeworld is. You showed us your fleet strength. You showed us your tactics. Now we know everything about you. But you know very little about us. You don't know all our weapons. You don't know all our defenses. And you never will." "Are you saying—" "I'm saying that if you threaten any species in this galaxy again, the Terran fleet will come for you. And next time, we won't offer mercy." It was the perfect combination of the title's promise, the smile of someone offering peace and the fire of someone ready to burn everything if that peace was rejected. Emperor Thaxion understood. He had been beaten by a species he thought was primitive. He had been outfought, outthought, and outmaneuvered. The mighty Velkari Empire had fallen not to superior strength, but to human determination and cleverness. "I agree to your terms," Thaxion said. It hurt to say those words, but he said them anyway. "Good," Hyunwoo said. "Now leave our space." The Velkari fleet departed. Admiral Hyunwoo watched them go, feeling exhausted. Fleet Commander Minho came to stand beside him. "We did it," Minho said quietly. "We actually won." "Yes," Hyunwoo agreed. "But at what cost?" They had lost ships. They had lost people. Captain Yunji and her entire squadron were gone. Hundreds of other brave men and women had died defending Earth. The victory was real, but the price had been high. Over the next weeks, the galaxy changed. The Velkari Empire collapsed as promised. The Quelari,